coming up on 30 seconds until airtime. Mark, 30 seconds until airtime. Once again, stations, if you encounter technical issues during the broadcast, please call the Oregon Studio Hotline at 336-831-0864. Stations, your final time cue will be with 15 seconds until airtime. Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
The following is a presentation of Learfield. Welcome to Duck Insider.
Our whole athletic department, there's a level of expectations of success.
Throw, catch, touchdown, Oregon.
He can run and slam.
This is back out for a three. Left wing is good.
In the air to center, back at the wall. It's out of here.
Really excited that we get to rep our Ducks and hopefully come back to Eugene with some championships.
Indoor track and field national champion.
Oregon repeats as the Pac-12 champion.
And for the fourth time in the last 6 years, the Ducks are Pac-12 champions.
We have so many teams that are excelling right now, and it's really fun to be a part of.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Live from the Country Financial Studio, here's Joey Mack.
A Duck victory over the weekend. We're going to recap it all with head coach Mario Cristobal. We also will have the full information on Arizona. That's right. The Pac-12 opener is coming up for the Ducks. 7:30 kickoff at Autzen Stadium on Saturday. It's going to be on ESPN. What means we'll have a 5:30 pregame show across the Oregon Sports Network with Jerry and Georgie on the call. GoDucks.com/OSN for where to tune in the market of your choice. Or if you're tuning in via the interwebs in some way, yeah, you can do that too. GoDucks.com/OSN. Before we get to recapping Stony Brook and hearing from Coach Cristobal, a couple news updates for you today. The Ducks now also know when they will kick off against Stanford next week. The Ducks will be headed down to California. The October 2nd game will begin at 12:30 on ABC. That means that the Ducks are, again, in one of those prime time windows. And I got to come up with a different word because prime time in television language is what it's like. 8 to 10 o'clock, I think, is considered prime time.
Yeah, it's like Deion Sanders.
Right, well, thank you. Yeah, that was a good football joke, Scott. Good dad football joke there. But the point is that these like prime time windows, these big windows on the big time broadcast networks, the Ducks are going to be in a lot of those because the TV partners essentially every 12 days out or sometimes 6 days out, the TV partners basically have a draft. And it changes which network selects the game first. But what happens is each network will say ESPN has a 7:30 and a 12:30 slot. Well, if ESPN gets the first pick, right now the Ducks are probably always going to be the first pick unless you get this just awesome matchup between two other Pac-12 teams. But because of Oregon's ranking now up to number 3 in the AP poll this week, the Ducks are probably going to get the first pick by all of the broadcast TV networks. That means that you're going to see the Ducks in windows like 7:30 on ESPN this week because ESPN picked them, right? It's essentially a draft every week when the TV networks do this. And then 12:30 on ABC against Stanford, that's another big-time window. It's awesome to see. So the Ducks will kick off the Pac-12 season against Arizona this Saturday, 7:30 at Autzen Stadium, and the game will air live on ESPN. And then ABC will broadcast the TV side on the following Saturday when the Ducks are down on the farm at Stanford. Ducks still a little bit shorthanded. We're going to talk about that. Updates to the Oregon organizational chart are aplenty, as you can imagine, with head coach Mario Cristobal. Also some notes on Oregon volleyball after their 3-0 trip to Washington, D.C. They begin Pac-12 play against Oregon State on Wednesday. We're going to talk with Matt Ulmer on the program tomorrow. And Graeme Abel, after 2 wins for Oregon soccer this weekend, he will join us on the show coming up in just a little while. And I know a lot of people are wondering about Kayvon Thibodeau. Before we get any further, he is still day-to-day, according to Coach Cristobal and Coach DeRuyter, as of Monday morning. More details on all that. Looks like, though, the Ducks are getting a little bit healthier, which is great to see because as Tim DeRuyter just said, if you're live with us in the 1 o'clock hour, wrapping up press conferences with the 2 coordinators and with Mario Cristobal, the Ducks were a little limited in their packages that they could use on defense just because of their personnel. They're a little banged up at linebacker. They're banged up at edge. And, Well, that did change the way that the Ducks game planned against Stony Brook. Still a little bit of a slower start against Stony Brook, though, than maybe the Ducks would have liked. We'll talk about that in just a second. But I also do want to give credit where credit is due. I have to give credit to this little round piece of gold and metal because the coin, ladies and gentlemen, the coin was the winner in your Sylvan Ridge Winery picks this past week. I'm pulling up our grid. I have a spreadsheet that I use to keep track of all this, and it's just embarrassing. It was a rough weekend for the Pac-12. Can we all agree? Really rough weekend for the Pac-12. Well, as a result of it being a really rough weekend for the Pac-12, it was also a really rough weekend for Jerry, Jorgie, and I, because the coin went 8-2. A 50-50 coin flip went 8-2 in our Sylvan Ridge Winery picks. Missed on UCLA and missed on Vanderbilt. You know, the coin, I will say, has had perfect weeks in the past. There was famously one week where Jorgie was 0 for 6 and the coin was 6-0 in our picks. So every Friday, Sylvan Ridge Winery brings you our Pac-12 picks, and let's just say that the coin is in control. I've got 20 correct picks after a 5-5 week. Jorgie also went 5-5. Jerry went 4-6. So Jerry and Jorgie both with 18 correct picks. I've got 20 correct picks, and the coin has 16 correct picks. Can you believe that the coin, guys, the coin is going to pick first next week? Crazy. Got to give credit where credit is due, though, and shout out to the coin. I can't believe that we're doing that. Oregon against Stony Brook, and we're going to hear from Mario Cristobal coming up in just a little bit. Let's begin because, you know, the Ducks, I do think, started out a little bit slower than they would have liked. But again, no Kayvon Thibodeau, no Mace Funa, no Braden Swinson. DJ Johnson moved over from tight end to play that defensive end and edge rusher spot again. No Drew Mathis, no Justin Flo still. The linebackers really banged up. Nady Alkalani had to play a ton of snaps for the Ducks, just like he did against Ohio State. And after a lightning delay, got going a little bit later. Yeah, a 5:07 kickoff after it was supposed to be a 4:40 kickoff. Those of you, though, who are listening on the radio network, I want to go kind of inside radio for you a little bit here. So in a baseball situation, like, I'm well-versed in this, right? Like, you get a lightning delay, you get a weather delay. This is just standard practice for baseball broadcasters. Well, it's been a while since Terry Johns has been doing, like, a baseball game. So we get word of the lightning strike within 8 miles of the stadium, and then Don Essig goes on for an urgent announcement over the PA because the rain was next level. I mean, that was like Oregon Cal in Jared Goff's first Pac-12 start bad. That was a monsoon. And the lightning was something. Dustin said lightning was almost right over Section 5. Yeah, I could see it. I could see it from the press box. And then that thunder boom, and it was like, oh, boy. Here we go. Well, the inside radio for you is Terry looked at me and we kind of went, well, what do we do here? Like, we have rain delay programming. You don't usually have to use rain delay programming for football, but I got to start rebranding it to weather delay programming, I suppose. The point I'm making, though, is we actually played the last about 10 minutes of the 2020 Rose Bowl. And God, it was fun to listen to that. I gotta tell you, those of you who were tuning in and you're probably going like, "What are these guys doing? Why are we listening to Rose Bowl highlights? What's going on?" Well, Terry had finished up the pregame show as he always does, and we had about 25 minutes to kill. And instead of us just babbling around, we thought, well, let's listen to the Rose Bowl. So that's exactly what we did. So those of you who were with us and you heard that, yeah, that was actually a little bit of an odd thing. Well, the Ducks, I think I've been saying that, a little bit of a slow start. When I talked to Mario Cristobal at halftime, coming off the field heading into the locker room, I just said, Coach, you've got the lead, but what do you want to see from your team in the second half? And he just immediately says, I need to see more physicality. On both sides of the ball, he was not happy with the way the Ducks played physically in the first half. They were up 10-7 at one point after Stony Brook responded with their scoring drive. And the Ducks did answer almost a big touchdown to Micah Pittman. Great effort, though, the next play from Anthony Brown to run it in. And I'll tell you, 17-7, and it was like, okay, this is a little closer than everybody thought it would be. Well, That's kind of part of the deal. Now, at the end of that first half, Anthony Brown got dinged up a little bit. Took 2 shots. One of them was a big shot, one that you don't want your quarterback to take. Even a guy like him who's athletic, runs the football. Ty Thompson came in, though, to start in the second half for the Ducks. And a holding penalty actually stalled that first drive for him. But then the first touchdown of Thompson's career was to a freshman, Terrence Ferguson. You saw the future right before your eyes with a freshman to a freshman on the connection, quarterback to tight end. And from there on, the Ducks really dominated the third quarter. I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall for that halftime speech with Mario Cristobal. I am not sure that there's any paint left in the halftime locker room after some probably encouraging words were given by the coaching staff to the team. But you got to love the way that Oregon responded. And, of course, they end up dominating 48-7. Troy Franklin did take that big hit. I wanted to address that after Dante Thornton. What a burst. His first collegiate touch is just a huge explosion play. It was an awesome for a big about 50-yarder. Troy Franklin, I know he took that hit that Mario Cristobal, you could tell on the sideline, was not happy about. But I want to shout out to Troy Franklin for that block that he threw. His teammate, his classmate, and a fellow freshman in Dante Thornton does not score that touchdown if it's not for Troy Franklin throwing that block. That made, I think, every coach happy that he threw that block. The Ducks do end up winning in dominant fashion. They outgain Stony Brook 436-271. Ducks with great balance, 263 in the air, 173 on the ground. Anthony Brown, 14 of 18 for 159 yards, was just terribly efficient with a 170.3 quarterback rating. Ty Thompson was 6 of 9, 82 yards and 2 scores. Jay Butterfield got in 2 of 3 for 22 yards. I think you had to like what you saw from the Oregon quarterback room. And, of course, that's going to be a big question now is, does Anthony Brown go against Arizona? Is he healthy enough? Well, Mario Cristobal is going to answer that question in just a moment. Ducks did what they had to do to win the game, although they were shorthanded, got to empty the bench a little bit, which is what they wanted to do. And our game recap, well, a lot of fun whenever you get to hear Jerry and Georgie on the call.
Receivers right. Here's the back to pass. Over the middle and intercepted. Yeah, he got it. Verone McKinley, his 7th pick of the year. He obviously leads the team this year in interceptions. Twins each way for Brown in the snap. There's the little shovel pass pitch right to Verdell. Can he get to the end zone? Yep. Steps across. He had a nice block on the outside by TJ Bass behind Brown, and it's going to be a keeper going right. Brown trying to get the edge inside, dives to the goal line. He got to the goal line. Anthony Brown with his 2nd touchdown run of the year. Back to throw. No pressure. Steps up away from a little bit. Now we'll throw it toward the end zone, and it is intercepted at the 1-yard line. Thompson snap. Keeps going to throw. End zone. Touchdown! Play action, Terrence Ferguson, and Ty Thompson has thrown his first touchdown pass as a Duck. Back to throw. Swing it down left. The receiver fell down, intercepted to the 30, to the 20, and out of bounds around the 18-yard line. Bennett Williams. Now coming right is Johnny Johnson. Here's the give to Dye up the middle. He's going to get there for the score. Great effort. Ty Thompson pump fake, wants to go downfield, the ball does. Catch made, first down run, 20, 10, 5, touchdown Oregon, Dante Thornton. Benson tailback, Benson gonna get the ball, runs right there, touchdown Oregon. He went right over his right guard and right tackle, and the final seconds will tick off, and that is our final. Oregon 48 and Stony Brook 7.
Game recap, Scott Phillips putting it together, Jerry and Georgie calling it. Verone McKinley, you heard Jerry mention that was actually his career total for interceptions. He has been ridiculous. Always seems to be in the right spot for those interceptions, doesn't he? Like a ball gets overthrown and he is just instantly there, the ball hawk that he is. A couple interceptions for Verone McKinley. He's the Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Week this week, and TJ Bass is the Offensive Lineman of the Week. The Ducks continue to just rake in those Offensive Lineman of the Week awards is exactly what you like to see. Ducks are up to number 3 in the AP poll, which, by the way, is the highest ranking for a Ducks team since checking in at number 3 in December of 2014. I'll be honest, I read that from the press release that Todd Miles and the Athletic Communications group put out, and I hadn't really thought about that. I'll be honest, I am not one that thinks a lot about the polls midseason. I just don't. Maybe I'm too busy listening to the coaches tell me that it only matters where you're ranked at the end of the year, which I agree with that. So anyway, but I thought it was odd, and I was like, really? Since December of 2014? And, of course, that was a special year when the Ducks were in the college football playoff, and I went, wow. So to Jorgie's point on the broadcast, come on out to Autzen Stadium because this doesn't happen very often. Tickets are available, GoDucks.com, for all of your season tickets, your ticket needs, because this is going to be a fun game. It's going to be a beautiful day, by the way, against Arizona coming up. So the last 2 weeks marked the first time that Oregon has been in the top 5 in back-to-back weeks since the end of the 2014 season when Oregon ranked in the top 5 in the final 7 polls by both the AP and the coaches. Oregon is the highest-ranked Pac-12 conference team in the polls with UCLA, fresh off that upset. Told you. With UCLA joining the Ducks with the number 24 ranking in both polls. Fresno State is now into the polls at number 22 in the AP poll. And Ohio State, who the Ducks beat last week in Columbus, is 10th in the AP poll, 12th in the coaches poll. 19 ranked teams, by the way, have lost this season. 19 ranked teams. That is the most through 3 weeks all time. This has been upset year. Does everybody remember the year where it was the curse of the number 2? Yeah, Duck fans, you don't want to remember that year. I don't really want to remember that year either. But that was the season where every time a team was ranked number 2, they lost. I thought that would be the one that everyone remembers the most upsets all time. But so far, 19 ranked teams have lost this season, the most all time through 3 weeks. So now it is Arizona. Pac-12 play begins. 7:30 kickoff. Get your tickets because we need you at Autzen Stadium. By the way, those of you who were in attendance, I mean this. I should have said this earlier. I want to hear about your experience from being at Autzen Stadium again. More concession lines were open. I think that process was really alleviated, and it helped, I think, having more points of sale open thanks to those of you who came out and worked because – made a huge difference. So, for real, did anybody have anything that they were like, man, I want to know what's going on from Autzen Stadium? I want to hear about it. If you have any feedback for me, let me know. When we come back, all the answers to your injury questions and your quarterback questions. We're just going to give it to Mario Cristobal after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear Exit Strategy. No matter which Toyota you choose, there's an exit from the ordinary to match. See you soon, Toyota. Visit your local Toyota dealer or Toyota.com today. Toyota, let's go places.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Dear Exit Strategy. No matter which Toyota you choose, there's an exit from the ordinary to match. See you soon, Toyota. Visit your local Toyota dealer or Toyota.com today. Toyota, let's go places.
Your daily dose of Oregon athletics. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care would love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
So faucet running?
That's not a faucet. That's a river rushing through the forest. Forest rivers provide over 100 million people with clean water to drink.
What? I can't hear you because of the vacuum.
That's not a vacuum. That's the trees in the forest cleaning up the air we breathe.
I didn't know the trees were so amazing.
Yep, and the forest gives us shade, trees to climb.
That's awesome. Let's go explore some more.
Visit the forest today and enjoy all it does, just for you. To learn more about the forest and find one near you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Back on Nugget Cider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack here in the Country Financial Studio. Let's hear from Mario Cristobal. He met with the media just a little while ago. If you're live with us in the 1 o'clock hour, all the updates from the victory over Stony Brook and now injury updates, everything that you want to know heading into the 7:30 kickoff to start Pac-12 play against Arizona on Saturday at Autzen. Here's Coach Cristobal.
Good afternoon, everybody, and appreciate you guys joining us here today. Good practice yesterday, good film review. Feel like we're healing up. Feel like a lot of guys that were initially banged up in that game seem to be in really pretty decent health. So really thankful to the fans that came out, endured a little bit of weather early on, and turned out being a really nice day for football. I appreciate them being there and looking forward to them coming out this Saturday and making Autzen a really special environment like they always do. So looking forward to seeing them, looking forward to beginning conference play. It means a lot to our players, our fan base, our university. I got a good team coming into town, so preparation is in full gear. And with that being said, questions.
Mario, just the latest on Anthony. Will he be able to go this week? Same with KT, Mace, Braden, Keith, Ajax, all the guys on the edges who were out this past week.
So you said Anthony, Kayvon, Mace, who else? Keith
and Braden.
Okay. Yeah, I feel good about Anthony. Looks really good. Kayvon's getting better and better, so still day to day with him. Mace looks better. He's day to day, but feel good about him. Stephen Jones is good. You didn't mention him, but I know you guys probably saw him. He got a little bit dinged up in the game. He's good. Keith Brown looks good. He practiced yesterday, and again, he was available come game time. We were just being a little bit cautious with him. Braden might be out for another week, not sure yet, but he's the one that I would say is doubtful.
You're entering your conference season still undefeated and in the top 4. In the season, were you expecting to be in this position at this point?
Well, we expect to get better every week, and the goal is always to be 1-0. We feel like there's progress, obviously, in the 1-0 part, and there's certainly progress in a lot of areas of our game. But we certainly have to continue to improve in others. We've invested a ton of time in that. Almost like there's a gap in there that we got to fill because we started fast and we've closed out games well. Somewhere in the middle, we're not up to our standard, and we've been focusing on that and trying to get the result that we want by focusing on the process. But all in all, we're in a solid position and one that we, have the opportunity to improve on Saturday.
Coach, Travis Dye said on Saturday that he felt one of Oregon's problems is a tendency to play down to the opponent early in the game. Is there something that the coaching staff is doing schematic-wise to try and combat that going forward?
Well, I don't think it's schematic, and it's not the plays. It's the way that you run them. Technique, fundamentals, intensity in the calls themselves, and then the way they're executed is what it comes down to. So we take that as a whole, as an entire program, coaches and players. And it's something that obviously we're not pleased with because it's not up to our standard, but something that we're working on.
A lot of youth at will on Saturday against Stony Brook, Coach. Just curious on how you thought everybody played there. Some guys were kind of playing some of the first big snaps in real game time there.
Yeah, we got a little bit thin at the position, but I thought all those guys played well. Jeffrey Bossa, credit to him being unselfish and coming over from the safety and nickel position and helping us out in there. Jabril was in there. I know Noah and both Nate, they go in there, they flop around a little bit. Just thought all Micah Roth jumping in there, getting significant playing time. So they've battled hard. They've learned the position fairly well enough where we trusted all those guys to play in there. And we feel like they're improving. We feel like as the weeks go on, these guys are going to be really, really good football players. But right now they're in tune. They know what they're doing. They know how we're doing it. and we expect a steady improvement. And for those guys, for us as a defense, not to have a drop off regardless of who we put in there. And that's one thing that we've made a decision a long time ago is, I get it, injuries happen and you might have some really good players go down, but you certainly cannot allow the level of play and performance to decline. And that's on all of us. We got to coach it really well. We got to call it well. And then when we're in there, we got to play well. Because if you came here, you came to play at Oregon. If you came here as a coach, you came here to coach at Oregon, and we got to uphold a certain standard.
With Nate at linebacker, just how pivotal has he been with so many young guys in there, having been in the program so long? And what does it mean for a local guy to come in here as a walk-on and kind of having the impact that he's had?
Yeah, great team player. Guy walked on here, earned a scholarship because of his play, because of his just role as a teammate, always doing the right thing, pushing others to be better, having a positive impact on others, and then going out there, being called upon in critical situations last year and this year, and performing well. So really blessed and happy to have Nate here with us. Really proud of him for the way he's playing, and he's just going to keep getting better and better as the season goes on.
Mario, your chance to assess Ty and Jay now after having some game reps and just having the film too. How did they perform at quarterback?
Yeah, they were solid. Very small sample size to really take a huge dive into performance. But what sticks out first and foremost is elimination of any errors, mental and physical. Very cool when they went in there, unfazed, just like practice, with the adversity that we present these guys in practice. And the pace at which we practice really paid off because they went in there and they looked at home. So a lot of confidence in both those guys. Those guys are two really, really good football players with bright futures.
Mario, in terms of the communication up front from the ones on the offensive line, both in blitz pickup and on some of those stunts and whatnot that you referenced after the game, how do you feel about the ability to correct that now going up against an Arizona team that their defensive coordinator is known as Dr. Blitz? He's a guy who blitzes probably as much or more than anyone in the country. And if they do have one calling card early, it's that they do generate some pressure in the backfield.
Yeah, the pressure issues are fixable. One was a simple short that didn't get carried out, did not get passed all the way down to the tackle, or actually the tackle should have made the short himself. The other two guys got it in a three-man short. The other one caught in a twist and a pressure that was a little bit more difficult to pass off. I'm talking about the two before half that ended up being a problem. And just the angles were real flat. We didn't get a hand on the first guy. The penetrator created an issue, put us on different levels, and there was a sack. So very fixable, stuff that we have done well before. The challenge this week is, two different personnel groupings that are very different in what they do out of them. A 4-2 package, a 3-3 package. They jump in a bear. They jump into the odd front, odd wide, heavy fronts. They'll take four guys, kick them over to one side and give you a really unorthodox look to only stun out of that and present problems, rule issues, protection issues. So got to be at our very best, got to study them thoroughly, and got to have a good plan because they do affect the quarterback. They do get a lot of penetration and create negative plays in the run game as well. They force bad plays. They've got some really good players up front. Their linebacker is a really good player as well. Sideline player, but also a downhill player in the run game. Very explosive, good tackler. They'll press you up out there on the perimeter and give you some different looks. Hard to tell what they're doing from a coverage standpoint. They mix it up so well. So when you combine all those things and that front that brings so much pressure and movement, they present some challenges that you have to be really prepared for.
In 4 out of the last 5 years, you started off your season 3-0 and lost the next game. What would you say are the main challenges for your team going forward, and what are the main adjustments you would say you need to make after these first 3 games?
Oh, I don't think the previous seasons have any true bearing on an opponent this year. I think every week is different, and you have to approach that process in a manner that you feel gives you the best chance to win. And I think every year we've learned and gotten a little bit better in a lot of different areas, and we expect to continue to do that and continue to get better results.
Oregon football head coach Mario Cristobal. We've got more coming up from him in just a moment. Troy asking a good question. How's Anthony Brown doing? As Coach said at the start of his press conference there, if you missed it, looks good. The Ducks are expecting to have a full complement of quarterbacks heading into the 7:30 kickoff against Arizona on ESPN on Autzen Stadium on Saturday. Also, note Troy was asking about the Mo. Every week, all those policies and procedures that are on GoDucks.com are going to be reviewed with Lane County Public Health every week, and then based on what Lane County Public Health says is what we will do here in Oregon Athletics. So from that statement, I say it will be reviewed every week. I don't have an update as of Monday morning on if anything's going to look different this Saturday compared to last Saturday. We'll all find out. That will be a question that we'll have for Lisa Peterson on Athletic Director Tuesday, coming your way tomorrow. When we return, Mario Cristobal, more with the Oregon football head coach next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
After 2 years of construction, my wife and I finally moved into our dream home. So when a bathtub fixture broke, causing major water damage, I was glad we had the home insurance protection we needed. How do you know your home is protected? Talk to a Country Financial rep like me, Nick Simon. We can help you understand your options and select coverages to meet your needs. Then if something happens to your home, you won't have any surprises. Need the right coverage for your home but not sure where to start? Visit TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
You're listening to Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
You're not too cool for me. And in return, I reciprocate that sentiment. I'll never be too cool for you. I was a man with a plan, but now I'm a dad with a decree, and you can't take that from me. Please let it be noted that I told my job they can dock my pay. Right now, it's just too important to take you to school every day. I want to be legendary for you. I want you to puff out your chest when you go to school, the same way I do. I walk taller because of you, because I found everything to live for.
That's dedication. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Right now, our country feels divided, but there's a place where people are coming together.
I was nervous to talk to someone so different than me.
Me too. Love Has No Labels and One Small Step are helping people with different political views, beliefs, and experiences connect through conversation, and it feels good.
This conversation gives me hope.
It gives me a lot of hope, too. Take a step toward bringing our country and your community together. Start a conversation at lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep. A message from StoryCorps, Love Has No Labels, and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio. I know that none of you want to hear from me, so let's hear from head coach Mario Cristobal.
Coach, how would you, now having seen 3 games, how would you assess your kick and punt coverage and your kick and punt return units?
Yeah, punt coverage has improved dramatically. Kickoff coverage has improved in spurts. Part of it is kicking the ball into the end zone and forcing touchbacks, a large percentage of that. Some other, I'd say we've done okay, solid at times. There's some, we have our missiles that are responsible for just causing all kinds of issues for return teams in the way that they set points and 2-gap on the run and take back. There's no longer a wedge in the kickoff return team, but it looks like it, right? Guys are just stacked behind each other instead of side by side. So the physicality has to improve, recognition of a return as well, understanding when you're running down the field and going 100 miles per hour, that there are going to be indicators that dictate as to where the ball is going to go. We have played a lot of young guys on there because we have been, number one, they've earned it. And number two, with the lack of depth at certain positions, those guys have to get good at it. So I feel like those areas, they've really improved. Through time, effort, personnel, some adjustments schematically that allow us to cause some confusion for teams. And I think protection has been really good. Tom has punted the ball really well. Cam has kicked the ball really well also. So all in all, there's improvement, and we still have miles to go.
Last year, Mario, you guys were -9 in turnover margin, and this year you're third in the country at 7 and over 2 a game. What do you attribute just the defense being able to get the ball back? And offensively, I think you only have 1 turnover all year through 3 games. I know it's a small sample size, but it's a pretty good flip from last year.
It's a good start. We always talk about turnovers and penalties. We were doing good in penalties until this past game. We had a couple too many, which is not good enough. The one fumble that we have had this year, ironically, was on a screen pass while setting up. Really strange way to actually have a ball come out. So we have invested a significant amount of time, poured ourselves into not turn the ball over in 2020. It was we did a poor job of hanging onto the ball. I believe, I don't want to say the exact percentage, but it was in the 16% of the time where some of our drives would end up in a turnover, whether it be on downs or coughing the ball up or throwing an interception. So Coach Moorhead, Coach Mastro, Coach McClendon, all those guys, Coach Williams has done a great job emphasizing the importance of ball security and how to tuck that thing away. And then Anthony's done a great job with his decision-making and making sure he doesn't put the ball in the defender's laps. And then on defense, yeah, Coach DeRuiter, his system, his scheme, presents some issues where balls are going to be thrown your way. And the nature of it as well, and the way we call it, the way Ken Wilson coaches those linebackers, Coach Joe up front, all those guys, Coach Yates, very aggressive, trying to get the ball back all the time. So far it's been positive for us. We just got to continue, improving that week by week.
When you brought Tim on, he said he wanted to focus on turning the ball over, forcing turnovers, and that's been a strong suit for you guys. Through 3 games, heading into Pac-12 play here, what are some areas of improvement that you want to focus on for this defense?
Yeah, we want to knock back the run better. There were, periods of time in that second quarter, end of the first quarter, we didn't play the run like we had played it in the first half the previous week, or all but be it one play in week 1. We really did a good job controlling the line of scrimmage, controlling our gaps, setting points, setting edges. We didn't set the edge very well on Saturday. And again, like 2 polar opposites in the second quarter, largely responsible for the 190 yards they had in the first half of offense. In the third quarter, you got 6 total yards on 10 plays, and it starts up front. The complete difference was the way we were playing up front. So, playing in the trenches, it's about being on edge and staying on edge. And we got to challenge our guys all the time. That's not going to stop, and the emphasis in practice is always going to start with that at the beginning, right when we're done with Indy, with block destruction, and making sure that we understand how important it is to play with explosiveness, with power, to play with a lot of physicality. So we need to get better returns on that.
Mario, last year you guys really did very well in the middle 8. And I know it's, again, small sample size. You had the 1 score with Fresno, but then they drove right back. The past 2 weeks, you had opportunities before half. You put yourself in the position to do it. A penalty. This past week, there was a penalty on the earlier drive, but then obviously the sacks there before halftime. You do capitalize to start the second, though. So how do you kind of evaluate an area that you did very well last year and you offered yourself some opportunities, but you just haven't fully capitalized just yet?
Got to close it out. A little bit of the same stuff that we mentioned earlier about filling those gaps, like that second quarter gap where we just weren't playing with the same level of intensity and execution that we started off. And we've done some really good things in, moving the ball in opening drives, but not quite closing them out. And then, like you mentioned, moving the ball at the end of the half in a penalty or a negative play, hurting you. Same thing on the opening drive of the second half. Now, the stuff surrounding that has been really good. It's been really positive. So you want to hit on all cylinders. It's certainly something we talk about and focus on. I feel like we have a really good plan for adjustments at halftime and really from series to series, right? I mean, the way football is nowadays, you have to, right? You're getting something different sometimes on a down per down basis. So certainly an area of improvement, and we need to get better at it. It's a bottom line.
Coach, talk about that offensive line rotation. You're seeing guys like Dawson and Steven get a lot of reps here. When you're looking on the other side of the ball, we had guys like Swaba getting in with that rotation. How do you feel like the depth is coming along on the defensive line so far?
Oh, we need more. It's coming along. I'm proud of Swab. Got in there, did a nice job while he was in there. As you guys know, it's been a really crazy year with injuries, guys getting banged up or whatnot. So, our roster is getting to a point where it's certainly a lot better than it has been in previous years with depth, but we're not where we need to be from a depth standpoint. We need a lot more players, and we need to keep developing the players that we have. But for guys like him He's really developed and worked hard to put himself in that position. Jason Jones is playing better. Jason has to continue cutting weight so he could be explosive, snap to whistle, to the echo of the whistle on a down-by-down basis. Saw some really good things from Keanu Williams this past game. Play with power, explosiveness, heavy hands. You can expect to see more from him. Christian has done some really good stuff, has to continue to improve as well, but really pleased with the way he's been progressing. Jabril was an edge guy, jumped in at inside linebacker because that's what he played in high school for the most part. I could go on and on. Proud of Trevin. Trevin went out there and he was a little bit beat up, but he found a way to fight through. Jake Shipley's had some bright moments and then has to play with a lot more discipline and consistency. So we're all over those guys. They know. And what I'm telling you is nothing that we don't tell ourselves. We have to play with much more consistency and demand a lot more of ourselves and play with more power up front to be the team that we want to be.
Mario, you lauded Johnny for his blocking last week, and he does it on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the blocking at receiver outside of him and maybe Hudson at a couple of points? Because it seems like all 3 games there's been opportunities missed because of some issues there.
It's been hit and miss. There have been some guys that have done better than others. I know Coach McClellan hammers those guys and works those guys daily on that. There have been some bright moments and certainly areas for improvement. It's the best way to describe it, but it's been inconsistent.
And staying along those lines, did Troy Franklin come out okay? I know he took that hit, but he did have one of those downfield blocks that probably James was referencing where he cleared the contact for it.
Yeah, he did. But no, he was good. He was good yesterday and seems to be ready to roll. So certainly if there's anything else to update on him, I'll get that to you as soon as possible.
There's Mario Cristobal, the Oregon football head coach, meeting with the media, his weekly press conference here this morning. Actually, it was about noon, so that's technically in the afternoon, isn't it? Next, though, we're going to talk real football with Oregon soccer head coach Graeme Abel, who is here in studio. What's up, Coach? How are things? Hey, this is going to be a fun conversation because you went 2-0 this weekend.
Yeah.
That feels pretty good, doesn't it?
It does feel good. It feels good. Kids were awesome.
So we got a 2-0 weekend, and I want to go into our next break just with a little bit of a shout-out because dating back to last season, Oregon is unbeaten in the last 10 games. They're 6-0-4, and that's the longest such streak since going 21 consecutive matches without dropping a game over the course of the 1980 to 1981 seasons. Pretty impressive.
Year I was born in 1980. Isn't that crazy? There you go.
These are the important
There's the irony.
Well, is it irony or is it destiny?
Ooh. It's very romantic of you right there.
Thank you. I appreciate that. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit of soccer with Graeme Abel and also Chardonnay Curran's screamer of a goal, by the way. That was a lot of fun. Yeah. Back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Is that the sound of an ooey gooey cheesy crunchy slice of P-I-Z-Z-A? Obviously. But as good as that sounds, we think it can get even better. Oh yeah, that's the sound of a freshly opened fizz-filled Pepsi. The only thing that can take this flavor medley of crunchy dough, mouth-watering cheese, and savory sauce to the next level. How about another bite? Pepsi and pizza sound like a match made in heaven and taste even better. Pizza, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
As my family continued to grow, I realized I'd have to replace my beloved Jeep with something that has, well, more seats. I'm Jason Hines, Country Financial Rep and father of 7. Whether you're upgrading from your sporty ride with no room for a car seat or finally replacing your well-loved beater that still has a cassette player, you'll want the right protection for your new car. Work with a Country Financial Rep like me and get the protection you need at a price you can afford. Learn more at TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
This is Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
When you went car shopping, you meant business. You aced vehicle history searches and test drives. You out-salesmaned the salesman. Now you've got your wheels. If you manage that, you can get your retirement plan on track. Visiting aceyourretirement.org can help. With 401k tips and smart savings strategies, you'll have the info you need to get more for your future. Go to aceyourretirement.org because when it comes to speeding past financial challenges, you're an ace. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Look out, world, we're getting strong. The future's here and we belong. She can step, she can do more. Like build a rocket and watch it soar. Or clean the oceans and make the world a better place. Oh, she can step, so can cure. That's something new. There's no challenge in the world that she can't face. She can STEM.
Learn more at She Can STEM. A message brought to you by the Ad Council.
Back on Nugget Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack, along with Oregon Soccer head coach Graeme Abel here in the Country Financial Studio. Coach, hey, thanks again for being here, and thanks for letting us have a little bit of fun. We got romantic before the break, right?
We
so
did.
That was good.
Lights were going to dim, candles were on.
That's awesome. Destiny. I'm telling you. So, hey, but I say all that, you want your team not to focus on those things, right? You want to just move on to your next opponent and win. I understand that, but I'm still going to say and brag about your program a little bit when you come on the show, if I'm allowed to do that. Is that all right?
We appreciate it.
Sure. All right. Tell us a little bit about what you saw against Portland, what you saw against Portland State. Back-to-back shutouts over the weekend, Coach. What'd you like?
Yeah, we got back to being gritty. I think last spring, we were really gritty in terms of our performances, and we were able to grind things out. And we obviously started scoring a lot of goals early in the year, and we lost a little bit of that solidity that we had. We got back to that, so it's up to us now to find that kind of fine balance where we're still on the attacking side of things, doing our job, but still a tough team to score against. And move the ball well. When I look back at the film, especially from yesterday, move the ball really well. From the game, and some really good pictures that we were able to look at having a team sitting deep on us, and we were able to take those clips and get some good teaching moments this morning out of them.
A couple history notes for you, and not just for the team, but for an individual. Chardonnay Curran's now played in more games than any player in Oregon soccer history, which is pretty cool. And then, she had just an absolute screamer of a goal against Portland. Tell fans, one, about her, and two, about that goal.
She's obviously a kid who, we got to the back end of the season last year and she wasn't coming back, and I remember there was a glimpse when we played Stanford at Stanford, and we mentioned to her, hey, what, kind of a cool way to finish your career, and she gave me a smile, and I thought, I said to the staff, she might be coming back here and stuff. So made the decision to come back, and she's been awesome for us, and obviously plays as centre back last year, back in the midfield this year, and but what a goal! I mean, it came out to her on the top of the 18-yard box, and I don't think she could have hit it any sweeter. No. And the thing went arrowing into the top corner, so really did.
Yeah.
If it kept going, it might knock the scoreboard off her Hudson. So
that's probably true.
Yeah.
It was one of those moments though where I just thought, man, you talk about destiny. I mean, that's just one of those moments.
Yeah.
You see something like that happen for a person like her. That's just a cool deal.
We've had some. I mean, since I've been here, I don't know prior to me getting here, but since I've been here, we've had some awesome moments at Popeye late in games and some exciting games. I mean, you go back to Gonzaga, you go back to Arizona last year, this game against Portland, and they're good memories. So
yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, they make good memories for sure.
And then we get some really awesome celebrations from the coaching staff too.
No, it's not on film, so I don't think it's official. So
Graeme Abel joining us.
Yeah.
You beat Portland State on the road yesterday. And one of the things that stuck out to me, Coach, is that was Zoe Hasenauer's second penalty kick that she's capitalized on for you this year. I mean, it seems like she's got a real knack for such things.
Yeah, I mean, she's a cool kid when it comes to that stuff in terms of under the pressure piece, and she practices them in training, and we talk about it, and she steps up there. We got full faith in her.
Lexi Romero is the one that created it to get you that opportunity. You feel like it seems like I've seen her jump off the screen to me more when I'm watching.
She's getting more and more comfortable. I mean, she picked up a knock when we played in the exhibition game, and so she was out for a couple of games against that, and then she got sent off against Baylor.
Right.
so she then missed the game on Friday night, and so that was her redemption, I think, on Sunday running through. And she's quick. She's really quick. She's a great kid. Works extremely hard, and she's now starting to adjust to how we play, and you're going to see a lot more from her in the future.
You touched on that you didn't have her Friday because she got sent off in the Baylor game. We didn't talk to you last week. You're chuckling. I mean, it sounds like you kind of like that competitive fire from someone like her.
We spoke about it from a game management standpoint,
right.
And it was new learning for her in that moment in a unique scenario, and so she's learned from it, and we got out of it, with the tie, and so we move on from there.
You're undefeated through non-conference for the first time in the modern era, by the way, Duck fans. 5-0-3 is the mark. That's right. That deserves a round of applause. it's okay. I understand that the team doesn't need to hear such things, but I'm still gonna brag about it. You're getting experience. Before I talk to you about this matchup with UCLA coming up on Friday, I read your quote that Greg Walker put on Goducks.com that you're getting a lot of experience against a lot of different play styles. That kind of sparked my interest, Coach. Like when you're putting a schedule together, do you try to get games against different play styles in non-conference?
Yeah, I mean, I knew, with the Texas Baylor trip, I knew from my days in the Big 12 that it's a brutal place to go. It's a brutal place to go to Austin. It's brutal then to turn around and go to Waco. And, I'm trying to think back to my time when I was at Oklahoma. I think maybe we won once when we were there, and it was just a terrible trip to go on. And it was, I thought to ourselves, notoriously in the past, we haven't been a good team on the road. And so we went on the road with them, took the extra day when we went, and we handled it unbelievably well. It was mature in terms of how we handled it. The performance against Texas was really, really, really good. I mean, you look at their roster top to bottom. I mean, they got the player that scored the penalty to win the gold for Canada. So they've got a heck of a roster, and we managed that game extremely well. And then the Baylor game, I thought we played really well in it, and we're obviously unfortunate, but to go 1-0-1 on that type of road trip was great. And so it's looking at different types of games that we can set up for our group and challenge them, and then we can manage those challenges along the way to help us mature through the journey.
Friday is the Pac-12 opener for Oregon with soccer, hitting the road to UCLA. Ho-hum, just number 3 team in the country, so that'll be fun. 7 o'clock, you'll be able to tune in via the Pac-12 network. There is a streaming video link for those of you who are looking for that on the Oregon soccer schedule page, like there is for every game. Just what does it mean to you to get going with Pac-12 play? Have you liked what you've seen from your team through non-con?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was awesome for me last year to go through a Pac-12 season the way and get some extra games in. So we know what's coming in terms of that piece, and our standards are our standards at the end of the day, regardless of who we play. I think we've always said that. So yeah, looking forward to the game.
3 shutouts in your last 4 games isn't too bad. What's it going to take to get another one of those?
We've got to be organized. I mean, we've got to have that blue collar work ethic about us that has kind of been our trademark of the, over the past 18 months. If we can continue to do that, UCLA have got a great roster, but we got a great roster too. We can't forget that. We got really good players in our roster, and we got a group of kids that believe in themselves right now. Understand that it's. I said to them this morning, you're a record-breaking team already, and at a university like this, in an athletic department like this, that doesn't happen every day, and there's belief that's got to come from that, and so we're looking forward to the game.
Well, and you've already broken records, but you like that feeling, so you want to keep breaking them, right?
For sure. We want to set new standards every single day, and I said this a while back. In 4 or 5 years' time, hopefully the roster that we've gotten is, they've been trumped by another roster and stuff like that, a group of kids. So, but they've drove the standard, extremely high thus far, and we've got to continue to do that.
UCLA, 7 o'clock on the road. The Ducks you can watch on Pac-12 Network on Friday. I mentioned the defense. How much do you love the fact that Leah Freeman's only 2 saves yesterday are in the final few minutes?
Yeah, I thought we managed the game pretty well. I mean, our game management at the end, we've got to continue to get better at that piece, and we were so good at that last year, and so we've got to get back to that piece in terms of how we manage the game. We always hit the last few minutes against Baylor. Similar thing happened against Portland, and it happened against Portland State. So it's not good for my heart. So
gray hairs?
Where? I mean,
good question.
I mean, you could say my hair keeps falling out. I mean,
maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, I mean,
you get too many late game stressful situations.
That's maybe what it is. My eyebrows will be going next. So,
Graeme Abel, Oregon soccer head coach. Hey, before I let you go, just real quick, you and I talked about this a little bit before. You want to be the best team in the state.
Yeah.
You did that over this past weekend. You get a chance to do it again when you face your Pac-12 state opponent, but that had to feel pretty good.
It is. It's we want to dominate the state, and it's we've spoken at length about that piece, and Portland are a good program. Portland State are a good program within their conference. So 2 really solid wins, and like I said, it sets us up nicely for this weekend.
Best of luck against the Bruins.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks for
always.
Thanks for the long walk. You're the man.
I know. I'm going to go take it back. I've got a Starbucks waiting for me. So
Destiny.
Destiny.
Destiny for Graeme Abel and the Oregon soccer team. 7 o'clock coming up on Friday. The Ducks against UCLA to open Pac-12 play. When we come back, your Cafe 2-minute drill on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear past, present, and future football watchers, football is back! So consider this your official excuse for always putting football watching first, courtesy of Pepsi. That haircut appointment? Seeing the in-laws for the first time in ages.
It's been so long.
Nope, sorry, Susan, not if it's on Sunday. Long story short, after the year we've all had, we think you could use a little football watching. So crack open a Pepsi and cheer your football watching face off. With love, Pepsi. Made for football watching. That's what I like.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
More Duck Insider coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Steven.
Who said that?
Me, down here.
Ugh, what are you, a yellow booger?
I'm a banana slug, Steven.
What are you doing in my room?
I'm your sense of adventure. It's been a long time since we've had an adventure in the forest.
Mom took me to the forest last year.
I'm a slug, Steven. It took me a long time to get here.
You're right. I should get out.
Yeah, the forest is not that far away.
Hey, Mom!
Come to the forest where the more adventurous you lives. Check out discovertheforest.org for cool places nearby. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
America, your children have an amazing superpower. That's right. They can help save lives by simply washing their hands. Just 20 seconds of thorough hand washing after they've coughed or sneezed or been outside can help fight against the dastardly spread of germs. Armed with only soap and water and hands, your superhero can protect you, your family, and everyone out there in America land. Amazing! Find out more at coronavirus.gov. A message from the CDC and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Graeme Abel, man, he cracks me up as we take a look at your Cafe 2-minute drill to wrap up Duck Insider Day. Tobias asking a great question. Any chance get an introduction to the Oregon men's and women's basketball programs this year? Yes, I am planning on doing that. The teams have not started practicing yet, so when men's and women's basketball start practicing, obviously, you'll hear a lot more about them on your own Duck Insider. That might be one thing that we do during the bye week for Oregon football. I always try to find a few things that are kind of outside of our football routine to do during the bye week. One of them will be introducing you to all the new softball coaches that are here, all the new coaches that have joined the staff since we've had their seasons played. I will try to introduce you to all of those people here on Duck Insider. Volleyball went 3-0 on their Washington, D.C. trip. They're up to number 13 in the poll today. They are playing Oregon State on Wednesday, and they're at Arizona State on Sunday as conference action begins for Oregon volleyball. Matt Ulmer joining us on the show tomorrow. Just heard us talking about women's soccer. They are undefeated in non-conference play for the first time in the modern era. Also, men's basketball has announced a scheduling partnership with the SWAC. Announced today the formation of that basketball educational and scheduling partnership. More information is on goducks.com. It's an awesome partnership, and I feel like now that we're at the end of the show, I cannot do it justice. You're going to have to read about it. We'll tell you a little bit more about it tomorrow. Good luck to men's golf, our Pro Ducks in the WNBA, and Athletes Unlimited. That's our show today.
Watch out!
You got me!
The galaxy is safe once again.
In the pretend universe, kids play with pretend guns. In the real world, it's up to us to make sure they don't get their hands on a real gun. If you have a gun in the house, keep it locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you